Throughout, the strike leaders negotiated with the British government. 53 days into their strike, they believed they had an agreement.
We were holding out and holding out. We believed we had it. We had it, right? But we wanted it in writing.
The strikers were promised that a document which granted their key demands was on its way. Also on the same day, one hunger striker, Sean McKenna, was on the verge of death. Under this intense pressure, Hughes called a halt, and the strikers ate their first food.
One of the good fellas, medical officer, he went and he made us all scrambled eggs. Right? And in the middle of the night he came around with more food, toast and jam, and Jesus, it was heaven. We'd got it, we'd won.
But the mood soon changed. When the document arrived, it was not what the prisoners had expected.
The end of the hunger strike stemmed from a document by Mr. Atkins which was given to the prisoners and appeared to mean a settlement of the whole prison issue. It became obvious that what the prisoners thought they'd been offered and what the prison authorities were prepared to give them were two very different things.
Over the next days, their hopes evaporated. The hunger strikers had been outmaneuvered.
I wished to die. I didn't want to live. I remember squealing at God, if you're up there, please take me.
Faced with another defeat, the H-Block protesters remained defiant. Command of the Provisional IRA in the prison had passed to a 27-year-old gunman from Belfast, Bobby Sands. He began to talk about a second hunger strike.
What did you say to him?
Don't. I begged him not to. I begged him to go about it a different way.
When I explained to him, I said, Bobby, this will cause great distress, first of all, to your own family and your relations and your friends, if you do this. And secondly, I said, it'll cause convulsions outside. But he was tunnel vision on the prison world. Then he said, greater love than this no man has, than a man lays down his life for his friends. And I said, that's okay, Bobby, I'm not going to argue with you any further. Because he was in good conscience.
So began a chain of events that would give the Republican movement a new generation of martyrs and transform Sinn Féin into a potent political force. On March the 1st, 1981, Bobby Sands refused food. One by one, new prisoners would join him.
You were scared. No, there's no point saying otherwise. You were scared of what was ahead of you, you know. Obviously, you begin to notice the loss of weight. Your sense of smell increases. It increases dramatically, as a matter of fact. You could smell things like I could never really smell before. The smell of water was revolting. Even before you put it up to your mouth at all, you could smell the water. You know, you were heaving nearly before you drank it. Start throwing up green bile, you know.
As the first hunger strikers grew weaker, the government remained unmoved.
What happens when one of them dies?
Well, he dies. He's carried out in a coffin as the protesting prisoners, the fasting prisoners in the Republic in Dublin were carried out in coffins in 1940, and it's a tragedy for the man and his family.
There was a dreadful colonialism about the whole thing. Colonialism, we know better than you. Even though some of them never were in Ireland till they arrived the night before, they'd come in and listen to you, they knew better. It was a disastrous non-communication between the British mind and the Irish mind.
There are signs that the Provisionals may be scoring points in the propaganda war to influence Irish-American public opinion.
The strike was now world news, and international coverage was increasingly sympathetic.
I say that they should give them what they want, their 5 demands. That's what I think of it, and it's a load of nonsense what Maggie Thatcher's doing about it.
2 months into the strike, a member of the British Parliament representing Northern Ireland died. Bobby Sands was nominated to run in the resulting election. Catholics who felt sympathy for him and the other hunger strikers could elect Sands. For the first time, the IRA chose a political process over violence.
By this stage, there had been smuggled crystal set radios in some of the wings. The word was sent over that when the result comes through, if it's a victory, there should be no roaring and shouting or squealing or whatever.
Sands Bobby, anti-H block, political prisoner, 30,000. Yeah! I declare that Bobby Sands has been duly elected to serve as a member for the South constituency.
I remember jumping down from my bed and jumping up and down, not making no noise. It was all silent screaming, if you like, you know. And I just thought, I mean, no doubt now looking back at it a bit naively, but we felt here it is, no MP, you know. They're not going to let this happen. They're not going to allow Bobby to die.
I just hoped that being elected MP would save his life and save everybody else's life. My main feeling then was, Jesus, we may have done it here. He may have done it. And feeling real pangs of joy and happiness. But I mean, that didn't last long.
There can be no question of political status of someone who is serving a sentence for crime. Crime is crime is crime. It is not political, it is crime.
3 weeks after his election, Bobby Sands, hunger striker and Member of Parliament, fell into a coma.
My son's dying, and I would like to appeal to the people for to remain calm and to have no fighting or cause no death or destruction. My son's offered his life for better conditions in prison, but not to cause further death outside. That's all I can say.
How is he today?
He's dying.
The Northern Ireland office in the last hour has issued a terse one-line statement. Mr. Robert Sands, a prisoner in the Maze prison, died today at 1:17. He took his own life by refusing food and medical intervention for 66 days.
I remember sitting in the cell and Father Toner, who was the chaplain at the time, the cell door open and seeing Toner's face, and I knew right away, Bobby was dead. He didn't have to say a word, he just put his arms around me and never said nothing.
Bobby Sands has filled the death columns of the Nationalist Irish News, and today in West Belfast his funeral was no ordinary Republican event. For the IRA, this was a major test of Catholic sympathy for the hunger strikers, and for the world's press, a carefully stage-managed affair.
More than 1,000 people marched in front of the British consulate. They carried a coffin draped in the Irish flag and chanted anti-British slogans. Demonstrators burned a figure of British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher.
Mrs. Thatcher, she thought she was winning and she was losing. It was the biggest loss. Politically, she was losing. And she built up Sinn Féin to be a very powerful political party simply by her intransigence.
Within days, a second hunger striker, Francis Hughes, had died. So began a ritual of deaths, mass funerals and rioting on the street.
You would have heard the band lads going first, and obviously he jumped out of bed. That's another one dead. And then the rioting started. You would have heard a couple of shots, maybe here and there. Murder down the town.
Inside and outside the prison, the death toll mounted.
4 prisoners had taken their own lives deliberately. I do not know of any religious leader or politician who is urging me to give political status. Not one.